Candace Fleming, welcome back to OV Boss Babes.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know it's been a hot minute since we chatted last time, Candace, but I'm so excited for you to be a part of OV Boss Babes' 4-year anniversary special. And thank you for sitting down with me today to chat all things business, as well as get a little bit more into your personal life too.
Thank you for having me.
So Candace, you are an award-winning hairstylist and the entrepreneurial force behind your natural Canadian-made beard products at Bush Beard. And you've been in the hair industry for over 20 years. So what was it, though, about hairstyling that you were so passionate about it that you wanted to pursue it full-time as a career?
Honestly, I have always done hair. Like, even when I was a little girl, I did everybody's hair always. And I think I started out as an apprentice or like an assistant. And when I started, I didn't feel like I could do it because of my anxiety and imposter and all this other stuff. But I just decided to fail forward, and then here I am. I don't know. I've just always loved it. I've loved keeping the integrity of hair. I feel like a lot of times I say look better naked. Like, if you have, like, you take everything off, your eyelashes, your nails, all of that stuff, but your hair stays. So I just love beautiful hair.
Now, in my own perspective,
Yeah.
I feel like so oftentimes, like, if we were to say to our parents like that you wanted to be an esthetician or you wanted to go into hairstyling or something like that, it would kind of be shut down because it was like, well, that's not something long term.
Yes.
Or you want to be a hairstylist, well, that's great, but you can only make so much money, or you can only go so far. And then, fast forward to 2024, it's booming. Business is booming. That is the business that you really essentially want to be in because there's so much work.
Yeah.
And it's never going to end because roots are always going to be there.
Yes.
Our hair is always growing. So, like, when you told your family that hairstyling was what you wanted to pursue, what was their reaction? What did they say?
I think that they were like pretty open to it and they could see it happening. My first career was actually as a drug and alcohol counselor. And I said,
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And I worked part-time. I always worked with hair, like even when I was doing that. And I came to a crossroads and I was like, I'm either going to specialize with youth or I'm going to do hair, which was completely opposite. And then I just did hair. And I think because I had always done it, like even since I was a kid, it was just like a no-brainer for people. They just kind of accepted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, why was that, though? Why did you decide to go down that path then? Like, what was the deciding factor that you're like, this is actually what I'm meant to do?
Yeah. I wish I had like I don't know. It's just, it came natural to me. You know what I mean? Like the decision for me leaving my career was just that it was like really stressful. And unless you have your master's or bachelor's, it's like a high burnout. I knew that there was going to be risks with hair too, because you're working evenings, weekends, deaths, weddings, babies, all of the things. But I just decided to, I don't know, muster up some courage somewhere in myself and do it. And I don't know, it's just something like, something that comes naturally to you, like you talking to people or things like that. It just seems, even though it's scary, it's more comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. That's actually a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Now, Candace, so oftentimes hairstylists go into business with other women. So you're working alongside other hairstylists at another salon.
Yes.
Why did you decide to go off on your own?
Well, to be honest, I never thought that I was going to go off on my own. I was at a salon in Canada and it closed unexpectedly. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't be the salon bitch again. Like, I have put in my time. I have kids. I travel far. I had an established clientele. But anytime you change your hours or move, you're going to lose clients. It's just par for the course. I had some interviews and things like that. And then I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to do my own thing. And I started in my kitchen while my husband built my salon for me. And to be honest, it was the best thing, like, really, that ever happened. I don't think, like, you have dreams or hopes or you want to think bigger for yourself. And I feel like I didn't have enough confidence in myself to believe that I could get where I did. But it really was the best decision. And I think sometimes it's like that whole failing forward thing. I think it's something that I repeat to myself. It's like just jumping off a cliff, just do it. And then you'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned to me on our last podcast interview, as well as on one of your many introduction posts, which I love them.
Yeah.
I always love reading them because And then for my listeners and those watching on video, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, you actually often do introduction posts where, and they're never the same.
Never.
You always find something different and quirky and unique or even really personal about yourself, which I always appreciate. And I'm always the first one to look at those and read about them, Candace, because I think that's actually so brave and so honest. And it also like really creates that genuine and authentic friendship with your followers and your customers, not to mention that too. Creating that bond that might not otherwise be there.
Yeah.
Why do you do that all the time?
I don't know. I think it's something that I've struggled with, putting myself out there. Like, I think I go back and forth between it, but I think it's like the human behind the brand. Like, I just really want to be with like people, places, or things that like align with me. And I know that I frequently try to remind myself that not everybody's going to like the same type of cake. Like, and I just have to be okay with that, because I think I struggle with rejection or not like, I'm like, why doesn't somebody like me, or why wouldn't somebody? So I feel like if I put myself out there right off the hop, there's like no miscommunication or, we're not misconstrued about who I am. Like, even if I'm doing weddings, like, I'm going to spend 8 or 9 hours with you. I'm probably going to say the word bitch or titty.
Yeah.
And if, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking for the spa experience, it's not me. And it's okay. Yeah. And same with Bush too. Like I talk with men all the time, and I never want to come off like, I'm trying to get with somebody's man. You know what I mean? So I feel like I just try to put my whole self out there, tell little bits about myself to make people feel more comfortable. And I feel like when people are more comfortable, there's like more of a trust. So I don't know. I try to do it like once a month or every 3 weeks, especially with Bush. I mean, I've laid off with portrait, but I would like to do some of that more. But yeah, I think it's important for people to know the person behind the brand. It just makes it's like the humanizing factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important, and I love that you do it. And I mean, I will constantly tell you that day in and day out about how much I appreciate that.
Thank you.
The other thing, though, that one of the interesting facts that you had put out about yourself is that that you're an introvert.
Yeah, oh yeah.
No, I don't find that, but I'm learning though a little bit more about introverts and extroverts.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm an extrovert, but I do have introverted tendencies where I love to like revert back into my shell. Like after a day like today. I can't wait to like go home and not talk to anybody because I'm going to be so burnt out. But this is what fills my cup. This is what I enjoy. And as I was kind of like dissecting this question that I was going to ask you like a little bit further, being like, how are you an introvert? How can you be an introvert for somebody who talks to clients all day? However, when you're one-on-one with somebody, I feel like that is when you really shine because you can just kind of have that one-on-one experience. You're not in a big room. You don't have to be all out there and stuff. Is that kind of how you see yourself, like that?
Yeah, like I can like turn it on in bigger areas. I don't know if like my whole personality, like disassociation thing helps with that. But it really, I don't know, it does help. And I feel like most people wouldn't think that I'm an introvert, but I really am. And I struggle with public things like building up to this. I knew that there was only like a small group of people, but the build up to it, like I didn't sleep last night, but then it's just like constantly like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And usually when I'm in something, it's fine. But I don't know if that answered the question.
It does. And I appreciate though the transparency and honesty about that, Candace, because like for me, you have a big personality on the socials.
Yes.
Like you're putting yourself out there. You are the babe behind the camera. Like you're the babe behind Bush. You're putting out the introduction post. So somebody who might not know you or have this conversation might think like this girl is like out there and she's so extroverted and big personality, but that is obviously not the case.
No.
And I really respect respect that.
Thank you. Sometimes I worry that I come off like, sometimes if I'm in a large group right away, sometimes I worry that I come off like a mean girl or that I have like resting bitch face, only because I feel like I have to like be on the outskirts just to like adjust to the temperature, for lack of a better word, of the room. But I feel like I can turn it on. I feel like I have to be able to, especially when I do weddings or large group things like that. If I've ever done speakings, like there's groups of people. So it is something that I can do, but it literally takes like the life.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot. I don't know why I'm necessarily like that. I think just pretty much my whole life I've always been more of a loner. So I think when you're in like large groups, it doesn't always feel as safe. Maybe. Or there's more things that can happen. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that really inspired me, Candace, when we spoke last year is about how open you were about your mental wellness.
Yeah.
And I love that word, by the way, mental wellness instead of mental health.
Yeah.
And you spoke about different traumas that you'd experienced and different diagnoses as well that you've been diagnosed with in the past. And not that I can relate to that in that sense, but you inspired me to talk about things that are hard. You inspired me to share things, especially that I went through back in the summer, that I don't think I ever would have. I would have been ashamed. I would have been embarrassed.
Yes.
And I would have been trying to overcompensate, if you will, on the socials because I kept feeling like I had to show up when there was a lot going on in my life. But then when I shared what I was going through, I received so many messages, so much support, so much love. The Boss Babe community really came through for me. And not to make this about myself, but to go back to you, though, you had shared some stuff. And we talked about sharing the weird.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. Because we all do weird shit behind closed doors. And we all have our own personal shit going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
And so I always tell women that, like, when they have inspired me with their own journeys by sharing things publicly, you made an impact on me that day. And I will never forget that because that gave me strength to share. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that because I think sometimes, like, when you put yourself out there, you just don't know how it's going to be received.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, please don't be sorry. Because not only did I hear it, Candace, but a lot of women heard it.
It's kind of like nice and reassuring because I just feel like I used to be a lot more open with it. But it's like that whole rejection thing because it is a lot for people. And I think sometimes people don't know how to, like, take it.
Yeah.
Or, like, what to say. And it's not even that people have to say anything. I guess I used to say something like I would always strive for impact and not applause. And sometimes I have to remind myself of that when I do choose to be vulnerable or share things. Because it's not easy. Yeah.
It's not easy. You're right.
Yeah.
But when you do share the hard.
Yeah.
And you do share the struggles and you do share the different things that you've gone through in your life, the hardships, Candace, like, it's made you who you are.
Yeah.
And I mean, now you have a cause that's really close to your heart as well.
Yeah.
Because of the emotional trauma that you have gone through in the past, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think that that's why it's so important. And I even see myself, like, doing some great work again. Like, you've inspired me to want to do that when I kind of get through the thick of what I'm going on. And I want to be able to, like, give back to Pathways drug and alcohol addiction services. And I want to be able to give back to Bernadette McCann House and Lanark County Interval House. Like, all of these great organizations that are available that people might be scared to reach out to and seek out support to.
Yeah.
But they essentially helped you.
Yeah.
Not those ones per se, but Open Doors.
Yes.
Saved you.
Yeah, they really did. Like, I guess, like, the PG version is like I was born to teen parents, and growing up, my mom's an IV drug user, and I lived through a lot of things and different types of abuse and stuff, and she lost care of me and my sister when I was, I think, 13. It was like my grade 9 year. So I think not only are you, like, a teenager and, like, you're hitting puberty and you're starting a new school and all of that stuff, just life was really, really hard for me. And then to, like, leave the only thing that I had really known. My grandmother took us in, and then I attempted suicide, and I was mandated to have to see Open Doors. It wasn't a choice of mine,
right?
You know, and I feel like the way that I grew up is, like, you don't talk about things, or, like, and what is that, like, snitches get stitches or something. Like, you just don't talk about things. And I had the most, like, weirdest lady, and she would come to the school, and I was, like, really taken back, and I was just like, I'm not talking to you. And she's like, that's fine. We're gonna sit here and hang out. Just, like, totally not put off by my abruptness or brashness or anything. Just completely accepted me the way that it was. And then she was always there, and you know, I wanted to tell her things that were happening, but it's just like they have a duty to report. And I'm like, if I tell you the things that are happening in my life, it's going to make it worse for me at home. Like, I don't think you understand that. And She earned my trust. She did things that she probably shouldn't have done. You know, she hid me in a hotel, did different things, and eventually she got me into a group home. And it really was the saving grace. And to have someone that is there for you, I want to say almost unconditionally, like it didn't matter how difficult I was being or how whatever state that I was in, she just was always there. So connecting that with them was the best thing. And I was probably 14 really when my mental health or mental wellness really started to peak and things were happening. And that's kind of why I gave a little bit of a backstory, because some of the diagnoses that I have developed before the age of 7. And it's just my brain really. And yeah, I don't know. It's not a choice. It's just the way that it is. I'm grateful that I'm like the most stable and I've been doing, you know, the best like in the last couple of years, but it's me continuously pouring into myself and growing. Yeah, Open Doors is such an amazing place. And I think more people need things like that. Even like, you know, even you need it, but you think you don't need it, or you get forced into it, and it's just really a good thing. So anyways, yeah, I love Open Doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Candace, like kind of like reflecting on everything that you had gone through as a child. Like I look at my own personal struggles that I've gone through as an adult.
Yeah.
And I think like, how in the hell did I get through that? And then, I mean, for you, like being so young and being a child without a caregiver that was looking after you guys, you know, like that's really hard. And especially, like you said, with all the emotions that are coming on with puberty and trying to find yourself, trying to like determine like who you are. Sometimes you have to kind of go through those really trivial moments though, and those hard times, like as horrible as they are, to help you grow and learn and be a better version of yourself, like now that you are to your boys. You know?
I think of it as like character building, I guess, sometimes. And then sometimes I get on these like weird mystical journeys and I think, oh, if like this is, you know, like my soul's path, I could see me picking something challenging because I'd want to like learn the most or grow the most or be the most uncomfortable, because that's where growth lives, is in uncomfort, really. And I've always been uncomfortable. So I'm growing lots.
And I love what you said in our last episode too, and you're like, I was a high school dropout, but I fucking did it.
Yes, I did.
Damn right you did.
I did. Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
The best way to understand life in a looking apartment is to hear from the happy people who call one home.
We were just starstruck by the place. It's so quiet and safe.
It's a good space. We got 2 bedrooms and an office.
It's really convenient and comfortable.
They got a full-size gym, which is kind of awesome.
You really get to relax and do the things that you really like within the building.
We finally have a place to call our own.
Call a looking apartment home in a neighborhood you love.
The reason why I work with Amanda Walker.
Working with Amanda, absolute delight working with her. She's a ray of sunshine.
We love working with Amanda. I really love how she's able to engage the staff. They love working with her.
Very knowledgeable in social media, and she's really, really fun and easy to work with.
Stressful to be in front of the camera for some people. And because he is comforting, Amanda is able to get my staff involved.
It frees up a lot of my time that I don't really have to do that part of the job.
I have more followers than ever, and my engagement is the best that it's ever been.
All right, Candace, we're going to kind of shift a little bit now, and we're gonna dive into Bushbeard. So it's an interesting market to launch a men's product line, because let's be honest, the majority of men are buying their hair and beard products from drugstores, right? And not even just men. Women do it too. We all do it. But for men, like, they're not necessarily going to follow and buy from something on social media. It's just not in character of them. And the percentage of men who actually do give a shit about the product that they're using is quite small.
It is.
Yeah. And it's the women and their partners who are buying the products for them or encouraging them to use natural products that will make them look good and smell good. So even though your product is male-centered because it's a product for men, you also have to create a brand, though, that is attractive for women.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's essentially the customer that you're after.
Yeah.
So how have you done that?
Honestly, there wasn't like a lot of strategy when I started. Like I just wanted to make like a product for my husband, and then it just sort of fell into doing things that appeal to me, and then it fell into realizing that over 60% of my demographic are women, and it was like a weird fluke. Like I don't even know. I wish that I had some like marketing strategy or some like step 7 like program that I did, but yeah, I just feel like I try to be like authentic and genuine and put out stuff that I would be attracted to. And then it just seems to be like falling in or aligning. And I feel like I don't just try to sell like the products. It's more of like a lifestyle so that the right type of men and women come to it. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Now, how are you competing, though, with men's drugstore products? Because I'm assuming that would be challenging.
Yeah. To be honest, I feel like most of the time I just try to picture myself in a bubble and not in a competition with anybody except for myself.
That's the only way you can do it, though, right? Like, you have to shut that out.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm fortunate enough to be in 3 pharmacies now.
Where?
Yeah, so one's in Smith Falls, one's in Carleton Place, and one's in Richmond.
Independent dealers?
Yeah, they're like 2 of them are IDAs, and then one is like a Rexall, I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So,
when did this all happen?
I've been in the one in Smith Falls for a couple years, and then the Carleton Place in Richmond is like this year.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm in a few different things, but the pharmacies, it's just nice to have like a pickup location for people that they can go to. I think, for people who are always geared towards price point or like things like that, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to appeal to them. If my product's right beside them on a shelf, will it appeal to them? I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like I just keep trying to work on that like brand awareness.
Yeah.
And, women, bring it home for their men or their brothers or their fathers or whatever, and are just like, hey, I like this. It's not going to affect your testosterone. It's, 100% made in Canada, like all of those sorts of things. And then I feel like, not all men are lazy. I don't know if lazy is the key word, but they just don't want to think about it. They want like a no fuss, like, oh, you gave it to me. Okay, I'm going to use it. And then my hope is that they fall in love with it. And I've been very fortunate that a lot of them have, and I have a lot of really great repeat customers. So yeah.
Now, is getting bush beard in large retailers an eventual goal of yours?
It's something that I go back and forth with because like one of my like values is just like the small mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
And supporting like the local economy. Like a lot of people have asked if I'm going to do like Amazon or, I've thought about the idea of being in a chain barbershop. I don't want to say it in case someone else decides to try to do it. But there's like a Canadian barbershop that someone had approached me about. And I'm like, I don't know. I go back and forth with it because obviously I want to make money, but at the same time, like I really want to support those small independent mom and pop shops and myself. And then all the companies that I purchase ingredients or labels or different things from, because they're not chains either.
Right.
But it does make it really hard. And I think sometimes, with the way the economy is, people are being more selective about how they spend. I don't know if I need to like maybe work on educating people more about how expensive it is to have things made in Canada or purchased in Canada. Like we don't work for 50 cents an hour.
Right.
Like there's a lot of different things. So obviously a price point is going to reflect that. So I don't know if I need to work on educating that more, but I'm still on the fence. I don't know if I want to be I don't think I would ever want to be in a Walmart. It's just not my vibe. I just feel like it doesn't align with me, but maybe some Canadian brands, maybe. I don't know. It's something I toil with though.
Yeah. Because I feel like that would be really challenging to see like, I know that I could take this further.
Yeah.
I know that I can build and get my product in more retailers, whether it be in Walmart or if it's in more independent pharmacies like I was kind of hinting at earlier. But it just depends, I think, not only like how much more you want to grow, but how much time you have. Like, so if you decide to take all that on, what does that impact in your life?
Yeah.
Does that mean less time with your family?
Yeah.
Does that mean less time hairstyling?
Yeah.
You know, like,
hard.
yeah.
Juggle between both, to be honest.
How are you doing that?
I'm really,
Because that is a lot.
it's a lot.
And your boys are getting older too.
Yeah.
And, you know, like,
Yeah.
that's hard too,
Yeah.
but they don't need mom as much
Yeah.
anymore. And
Yeah.
you're just kind of like holding on to every moment.
I know.
Because, yeah, like you're busy.
Yes, I am. Yeah. I know. And people are like, what are you doing more markets? I'm like, I'm still in wedding season.
Yeah.
And I just,
Yeah, let's not forget about that. Wedding
Yes.
season, it's its own, like,
yes.
business.
Yeah, it is. And I've completely drastically cut back, but it is a lot of admin time. Like, I think people are like, you know, or when you're in the salon or at a show, like people are like, wow, I gave you $100, you get to keep it. Like, no, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like if you calculate the gas or the, you know, the time, the setup time, like all of the different things, the admin time just for brides. Like I was doing emails at 6 this morning trying to get caught up. It's like a lot to stay on top of. But yeah, I'm going to do lots of shows in like the November, December. There are some other ones I want to do, but it's a lot to manage.
Not that I want to say this
Yeah.
with any clients listening, but
Yeah.
how much longer are you planning on doing wedding hair for?
I always go back and forth. It's like a love-hate relationship. I feel like part of the struggle is that I'm not 100% in both. Like I have a shoe and like a foot in each, if that makes sense. I do love it and then I don't. And like there's actually a wedding venue that's close to my home and I love doing weddings there. They're amazing to work with. There's nothing close to me. Like there's nothing close to me.
Yeah.
So it makes it more appealing for me to go there and do it. And then I feel like most of the brides that book there too are like my vibe. Because it's hard to attract your type of people. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I think that girls are like, oh, it's a hairstylist. They can do everything. But like, hell no, I can't do beauty pageant hair. Like that's not what I do. Did you look at anything that
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I'm not sure. I go back and forth. I said I was only going to accept 10, but I've already accepted 13 for next year. And
Oh my God. Of course you have. I feel like that's like photographers too.
yeah.
My photographer says that all the time too.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I've booked, a certain amount of weddings this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not going to take on any more. And then,
Then you do.
suddenly she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
know.
a weird love-hate.
Yeah.
thing. I don't know. I used to do a ton more. Like, 10, 15, or 20 is way less than what I used to do. So I really got to work on that boundary, I guess, or parenting myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Candace, talk to me about imposter syndrome, because when you first started hairstyling, and then I want to focus on hairstyling specifically because there wasn't social media when you started. So you didn't have to worry about the content creation or taking photos. And if you were taking photos, it was, on a camera.
Yeah. It was
Like,
a real camera.
It wasn't on like your phone.
Yeah.
And I feel like now more than ever on social media, especially with hairstylists, like when that comes up on my discovery page, like it's not just a Pinterest board anymore.
Oh,
like
God.
you're not just like looking at random hairstyles. You're now actually like looking at that person's profile, their following count, the likes, all the, seeing that bookings closed. And you're at that point where your books are closed. You're not taking on new clients.
No, I've been very, I'm fortunate.
But how do you deal, though, with imposter syndrome on the socials, with that own internal battle of seeing other people's work?
Yeah.
And just that constant reminder that there's other hairstylists out there, too, that, could potentially, like, not to say, like, be better than you, but we have that. We have that
There's
mindset.
always going to be somebody that's better.
Yeah.
And I feel like, to be honest with you, out of my whole career, I struggle with it the worst now than I ever have.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I don't even like logging into my hair page because of the anxiety it gives me. I don't post very much. Well, I originally stopped posting as much because I didn't want any more inquiries.
Right.
It was just more admin time that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
And then I even put no DMs. So if people DM me on my portrait salon, I don't answer it. Like it says there, I have a website and I have an email and I have a phone number. I have too many points of contact.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to be brash, but it's just like sometimes, or like people message you asking for prices. Did you just message me from my website where all the price, it's right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes, and I don't want to be like that, but anyways, yeah, I don't really post on there very much. And I feel like I don't have some like magical inspirational thing to say. It's just really putting the blinders on and just be in your own zone. I think before, when I was 1,000% committed to just hair, I was focused on being the best all the time.
Yeah.
But it came with a toll and it affected my life and my well-being. And sometimes when I remind myself, like, oh my God, that girl's doing 80 weddings, or oh my God, look at how amazing this like balayage is. Like, why can't I do that? I try to remind myself it was a choice to not be at that level, and it's paying off for me in other ways.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much because I can relate so hard to this.
Yeah.
I compare myself to other podcasters all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When I see, especially like big podcasters, like when I'm watching Nick Viall or Caitlin Bristow and I'm like referencing the Bachelor ones, but Call Her Daddy and I'm like, she's got the episode teaser.
Yeah.
She's got these great guests. Yeah. Like she's got the bougie studio. They've got all the content prepared, the teasers. They're always on schedule, always on point. And I was like that when I first started. But I was like, Holly, like, look back. You had one kid at that time. You were not a single parent at that time. Like, you've now added on to your family and you're doing, you know, even more so now. And especially with the content creation. Like, that wasn't a thing back then.
Oh, my God. No.
And you're right. So you can invest in that time or you can invest in other time and spend it in better ways. Because, like, at the end of the day, no one's watching to be like, oh, Candace isn't showing up today or Candace didn't post it. Like, nobody is waiting for that.
Yep.
Just like I think to myself, like, nobody's waiting.
Yeah.
Like, no one's waiting for that. And no one is setting that expectation for yourself other than you.
Yeah. And if they are waiting, they check in. Those are like,
that's right.
They're like, hey, like, I noticed this, like, what's up? Or like, is there something I can do? So, there is a payoff. I don't think that everybody sees it, but you know it.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course.
Yeah.
I know it's such a constant battle that we struggle with. And I have this conversation, I think, with so many entrepreneurs just being like, you know, even if you weren't able to show up on social media today, or even if you found it too hard, like, that's okay. And people don't need a reason and they don't need an apology.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. It's true.
You don't need to say anything.
Yep.
No one's asking for it.
Yep. I know. So true.
So, Candace, I know I referenced earlier in your quote about you being a high school dropout, but if you can succeed, others can too, right?
Yeah.
So who have been some key players that have contributed to your success? And what life lessons have you learned that have helped develop your strengths as an entrepreneur, would you say?
I think there could be different people, but if I had to pick one person that contributed to my success in like being just a human and then being in business, it would probably be my best friend. Her name's Crystal, but I call her Diesel Linda. I love it. Just to be super extra. She's known me since I was 8, and I always feel like she saved me. Like I used to get beat up all the time, and she just came in and just never left. And I think sometimes when I'm struggling with different things in life, it's nice to be able to talk to a person and know that it's like real, like it really happened, like those things really happened. And she was there for me the whole way. And even when I've been really unwell, you know, literally propping me up or like helping with my dishes or just like being there when I was at my worst. And in terms of business too, I had hired her for a bit. She had taken over all of my admin and everything for my salon, and she's constantly pushing Bush. She supports me in every way in anything that I do, and I feel like everybody needs a Diesel Linda.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's always the women, eh? It's always the women in our lives that we're so appreciative.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you have someone like that in your life, championing you and supporting you and being there.
Yeah.
So we all need.
Yeah. No, we really do. And you just need one person. You don't need 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Candace, you know this question is coming, but who is one local boss babe who has been instrumental specifically in entrepreneurship that continues to inspire you, that you're spotlighting today on OV Boss Babes Anniversary Special, and why should everybody else know about them?
I feel like that changes all the time for me, but like recently, it's been this business called The Cultivators.
Oh, yes, I've heard about them.
Yeah, I just think I love, like she does websites and different design. I love how her stuff's always different, and I love how she like left her like corporate or like her like, you know, her, I don't know if corporate's the right word.
Yeah,
like
corporate 9 to 5.
Yeah, like that regular and just poof. And I just think it's so cool. And I feel like she puts like thought-provoking stuff sometimes. And I just love her designs are so different. But yeah, I feel like it changes for me all the time because I follow so many businesses. But I think she's like a really nice person, and I just love what she's doing.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Candace, I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
I love everything that you're putting out there. And I love just the constant community that you've built. And you're on a roll. You're doing more podcast interviews.
Yeah.
You've been spotlighted as well in different magazines.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I'm not just taking notice, but others are too.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of you. And I just always want you to keep sharing. Keep doing the introduction post and keep putting the weird out there and sharing all the quirkiness. And you know what? Others will follow in suit and do it too.
Yeah.
So you won't be alone. So thank you again for being a part of the podcast.
Thanks for having me.